They attempted to turn him into a case, a manageable narrative unit inside an administrative archive. The point of such reduction is not only juridical, it is epistemological. A colonially trained bureaucracy prefers lives that can be cited, footnoted, and dismissed. Yet Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu refused the invitation to be merely about something the state already knew. He was from Mamelodi, dust, sirens, a cartography of checkpoints, where one learns early that power writes its grammar on bodies and passes, and that the central question is not sentimental, but structural. Will you submit to the language that names you, or will you insist on the right to speak yourself? He insisted. The 1970s did not simply bring unrest, they restored the permission to narrate. Students, reading their world against the grain, made the street and the classroom resonant with a countertext. Kalushi crossed borders outward and inward, toward training grounds where silence becomes strategy and discipline, stripped of authoritarian residue, is retooled as a pedagogy of emancipation. Not the romance of rebellion, but its workmanship, signals, regimen, the study of how to move through a system designed to render movement legible and therefore punishable. Then Johannesburg, Gok Street, an incident immediately captured by an apparatus eager to recode causality. 2 civilians dead. The state accelerates to produce an exemplary story. Unable to attach the bullet to his finger, it attaches a doctrine to his person. Common purpose. Here law performs as language, mobile, expansive, converting proximity into guilt and spatial relation into moral certainty. It is, to borrow from philology, a semantic stretch that serves a political end. The courtroom, as a site not of truth but of triumphal interpretation. He is 21, absorbed into the carceral continuum. Charge sheets as prose, hearings as episodes, the slow violence of procedure. Yet his letters, economical and steady, refuse the assigned role of contrite defendant. They speak from what I would call the worldly space of the text, not abstract, not metaphysical, but located, conscious of bars and mornings, of other lives moving beyond the walls. He declines to let the sovereign script his remorse. He writes, instead, a counter-narrative in which dignity is not an ornament but an argument. 6th of April 1979, Pretoria Central Prison. The sovereign spectacle persists in ritual, the mourning, the choreography, the presumed finality. But Kalushi walks as an address, not an exhibit. My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom. Tell my people that I love them. The sentence matters, not as hagiography, but as critique. It displaces the state's claim to closure with an insistence on futurity, a refusal to grant the gallows the last word. They imagined a full stop. History heard a caesura. The name travels into classrooms, street signs, scholarships, songs, not to sanctify a single figure, but to offer a method, a way to read and act, to treat the dominant narrative as one line in a contrapuntal score where other melodies, township, student, worker, sound with equal authority. When a student declines the grammar of fear, when a worker straightens under the habitual weight, when a child in Mamelodi learns that courage is not merely felt, but practiced, the text of Kalushi is being read aloud again. Some lives are measured less by chronology than by the distance they coax a society toward its unclaimed possibilities. He did not manufacture legend. He practiced fidelity to comrades, to an idea of freedom unseduced by purity or revenge, to the simple secular claim that human beings must be allowed to narrate themselves. In a polity that tried to monopolize description and decree obedience as the only diction, he showed that love, disciplined, exacting, unembarrassed, can be a strategy of liberation. Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, not a figure entombed in the archive, but a voice within the present score. Present,